Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankaracharya-madhyamām Asmadacharya-paryantāṃ Vande Guru-paraṁparām. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnāt Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha.
Seems like you guys must worship and singing things. Oh no.
Okay, so we were in the fourth Brahmana of the fourth chapter, where we were looking at the Jnana Mahima, correct? The greatness of this knowledge and also the greatness of the Jnana Marga itself. So that's what we were seeing here. In that context, I think we have seen up to the 14th Kandika, where it was talking about the results of this jnanam. If you manage to know this here itself, then you gain Amritatvam. Correct? Otherwise, what you are gaining is really only Dukkham. Dukkham eva apiyanti, it says. So, ye tad viduhu amritaha. So, those who know this Atma here, they become amritaha. But itare dukkham eva apiyanti. Up to this we saw even the Bhashya. Now the next Khandika also is Jnana Mahima only. Yada etam anupashyati atmanam devam anjasa ishanam bhuta bhavyasya na tato vijuguksate. So yada, when one knows this Atma, correct? Etam atmanam, when one knows this Atma, and then what happens? And how do we know it? Okay, Anjasa means directly you know it. But the interesting word here is Anupashyati. The Upanishad is not saying Pashyati, but Anupashyati. So Pashyati means you can say you are knowing directly, you are knowing yourself, correct? You are seeing it yourself. But Anupashyati means you are seeing after or along with somebody. Okay. So the Anu means what then? Bhashyakara will say that you are seeing along with your Guru. Correct? Guru Shastra Upadesha. So the Shastra Upadesha through the Guru you get and then you see it. That's why the Anupashyati is very important. This is a very important thing, correct? Everywhere in all the Upanishads and Gita, the importance of Guru is mentioned and the characteristics of Guru also is mentioned. So it is very important that one should not take up this Atma Vichara by oneself. That also Bhashyakara makes it very clear in the Mundaka Bhashya. Even if you think you are a Pandita, this Atma Anveshanam Swatantriyena na Kuryat, it is said. Don't do it independently by yourself, even though you may be an expert in some other field. You may be, you may know the language, you may know the grammar, you may have even done Veda Adhyanam. All that is fine, but still you have to go to a guru and learn from a guru because it is a sukshma subject matter, it is subtle. So this anupashyati is a very important word here. So you learn it from a guru and then you see this Atma, which is called as Deva here. Deva means not the regular the Swarga Vasa Deva, correct? Those who live in the Swarga are also called Devas. But here Deva is a word, it is coming along with Atmanam, correct? it is coming as an adjective to Atman. So Deva means we have to take it as the one who is Suprakasha, correct? One who is bright, one who shines by himself. Means this Chaitanya Swarupa only is called Deva. Bhashyakara will give another meaning also, we will see that. So this Atmanam Devam Anjasa means you know it directly, Sakshat. It should be your knowledge. It's not that the Shastra is saying so, Guru is saying so. It is not like that. It is your knowledge. You have directly, clearly understood something. You see it, the reality of yourself. That's why this Anjasa also is another important word here. And you see yourself how? Means Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya. So you don't see yourself as a puny, limited individual caught up in one body mind sense complex. No, you are the Ishana, you are the Lord. Lord of what? You are the Lord of the past. You are the Lord of the future. Bhavya, Bhuta and Bhavya. Present also we have to take care. Correct? Upalakshanaya. So you are the Lord of all periods of time. Means what? Means you are not subjected to time. Correct? Then only you are the Lord. You are the Ishvaraha. Ishvaraha means the one who makes the laws, but one who is not under any law. Correct? That person is the real Ishvara. Similarly, here you are the Lord of the time itself, means you are not subjected to time itself. That is the meaning. Because, see, sometimes even the word Nitya is there. Right? Nitya in English, you can translate it as eternal. Or even Amritaha is there, deathless. Okay, let us translate it as without death, deathless, eternal, and all these words are also there. But even these words can be confusing. Why? Because you can take it as a very long time, or you are existing in time forever. But the Upanishad is not trying to mean that, understand that. When we say Nitya, Amrita, etc., the meaning is that you transcend time. In fact, that will come up very clear in the next Khandika also. In the 16th, we will see that. So basically, here, whenever we use the words like Amrita, Nitya, or here it is said, Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasa, you are the Lord of time, correct? In fact, Ishvara is called Kala also, or sometimes Kala Samhara, one who has destroyed time. Who can destroy time? One who transcends time alone can destroy time. You cannot be within the grips of time and destroy it. You cannot be subjected to time and claim that I am also destroying time. So, the one who is manifest as time, but one who transcends time itself, that is you. So, this is a Mahavakya really, because initially it is saying Atmanam Anupashyati, Devam, and all these things. These are all the Tompada Vachyartha, correct? Tompada Lakshya, we have to say. But Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya is Tatpada. You are the Ishvara of time itself, of past, of present, of future. So this is the knowledge. This is the Aikya Jnanam, that you look upon the Pratyegatma as none other than Brahman, who is the Sarva Karanam, means he is also the Karana for time. And therefore, who transcends time, who is the Lord of past, present, and future. And what is the phala of this jnana? Means natato vijugupsate. So the vijugupsate can have different meanings. Okay, jugupsate, vijugupsate, and all. One meaning can be like blaming somebody, criticizing somebody, and all that. So once you have this knowledge, you know yourself as Purna Swarupa, then there is no question of blaming anybody or complaining about anything, correct? See, normal person's problem is what? That you look upon yourself as a limited being. That means you are subjected to all kinds of limitations, suffering. All these things are there. So when you are suffering and you are having limitations, you don't want to blame yourself. When you start blaming all others, correct, everybody else, because for all your problems, in fact, most people don't want to take responsibility themselves. They want to blame others. In that, you get some relief, I think, correct? By blaming others, at least you are shifting the responsibility onto others. So you can blame, criticize, and not own up all your problems. That is one way. But the jnani, one who has known himself as everything, cannot be the one who blames anybody else because for two reasons. One is there is nothing to blame for, correct? There is no reason to blame anybody because you know yourself as the limitless, as Purna Swarupa, not lacking anything, complete in all respects. The other is there is no other person, there is no second also, correct? Anyway. So there is nobody else to blame and no reason to blame really, yourself also. So there is no reason to blame yourself, there is no reason to blame anybody else. That is one way. Or the other thing is you don't want to, Vijugupsate Bhashyakara gives another meaning of you don't want to hide yourself from anybody or protect yourself from anybody. That is because you don't feel insecure. Once you are a jnani, there's no question of any insecurity. Again, there is no fear. Bhayam pratishtam vindate and all we say. So one who has abhaya, for that person there cannot be any insecurity. So you don't want to hide from anybody. You don't want to hide from even Ishvara. In fact, if you see Dvaita, then what is the problem? Even Ishvara becomes a problem. Understand that. That's what we see in the 11th chapter of Gita. Because if you see Ishvara Swarupa for all that is there, Ishvara also is Kala. Bhagavan says, Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravrittaha and all that, correct? So I am the Kala who is lokakshayaha, who, who gobbles up the entire world. Okay. So such a Ishvara Swarupa, Arjuna sees, then he becomes afraid. Why? Because he sees himself separate from Bhagavan. Udaramantaram kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. Like that, Taittiriya Upanishad also says, even if you make a small difference, then dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati. There is a second thing, then there is fear. So if Ishvara is separate from you, then there will be fear from Ishvara. You may want to hide from Ishvara also. Okay. But Jnani doesn't have any fear. So Arjuna in the 11th chapter says finally, Saumyam Rupam. You show your Saumyam Rupam and all that he says. I want to see you in your pleasant form. I don't want to see this form and all that. So like that, you don't have any problem with any Rupa. So you don't want to protect yourself or hide yourself from anybody and Ishvara also. Because you are Ishvara, in fact. You are not separate from Ishvara. That is the vision. That is the Jnana Phalam. So we see the Bhashya. Yada punaha etam atmanam chit parama karunikam kathit acharyam prapya utaha labdha prasadaha sanne. So Bhashyakara here, for this Anu, he is giving the meaning, correct? What is the meaning of seeing along with somebody means? You got hold of some very, very compassionate and kind Guru. Parama karunikam, it is said. Why Guru is compassionate and Karuna Murti and all that we say. Correct? Why? Because the Guru really doesn't see any problem. For the Guru, there is no problem at all. But the Shishya has a problem. So even though the Guru does not have any problem of his own, the Guru sees the problem of the Shishya and tries to help the Shishya. That is why Guru is Parama Karunika. So some Acharya you gain, and then from that Acharya, Tataha Labdham Prasadaha San, you have gained this Jnanam as this. It is a Prasada really, correct? So your clarity. Prasada can be even taken as this clear knowledge you have gained. And even in Gita it is said, correct? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi pariyavadishtate and all is there. But prasadaha you have gained. And that is the meaning of anu. Paschat pashyati. So you see, anu means paschat means what you gain. You gain a guru and then later you see. And how you see? Anjasa means sakshat. So he says sakshat karoti swatmanam. So you know yourself clearly. You see yourself, the reality of yourself so clearly. And what is your reality? You are Deva, Devam, Dyotanavantam. Da. So one meaning is he giving it as Dyotanavantam means one who shines. Dyotanat Devaha. Or he says Dataram va sarva prani karma phalanam yatha karmanurupam. Another meaning of Deva is the one who gives all the phala for all the beings, the karma phala data is also called as Deva. And again, the karma phala also should be in keeping with whatever karma you have done. Correct? Yatha karmanurupam. So based on whatever karma you have done, the one who gives the karma phala, that Devam, means here itself, then you see yourself as Ishvara again. Correct? It's a Mahavakya. Anjasa means Sakshat. You directly see it. It's not indirect knowledge. Okay. And further, what? Ishanam, Swaminam. You are the Lord. You are the Swami of what? Bhuta Bhavyasya. Kalatrayasya ityetat. So Bhuta and Bhavya means Vartamana also you have to take, present also. So you are the Lord of the all periods of time, all three periods of time. And once you know this, then what? Na tataha tasmad ishanat devat. So from this Ishvara, the Lord, who is also the Karmapala Data, Deva, who is shining as your own consciousness, Atmanam Visheshena Juguksate, Gopa Yitum Ichati, Na Ichati, you have to take, Na is there here, okay? So, Na Gopa Yitum Ichati, you don't desire to hide yourself, secure yourself or protect yourself even from Ishvara, from anybody else also, okay? Because you are not insecure. Only insecure people require protection, they want to hide, or they have something to hide also, correct? For Jnani, there is nothing to hide, and there is no need of any protection because there is no question of having any insecurity. In fact, generally in the world, people think that the one who has the most security is the most secure, correct? But it is the other way around, correct? You are having 100 persons as security guard means you must be the most insecure, I think, correct? You don't have any security really. You are feeling insecure. That's why you have to keep all this security. So anyway, so you don't want to hide from anybody. You are not sitting in a bunker or anything. You can sit under a tree and be happy. So you don't want to hide yourself from Ishvara. In fact, Bhashyakara here says, he says, Sarvo hi lokaha Ishvarat gupti michati Vedadarshi. So those who are Vedadarshis, those who see difference from oneself and Ishvara, if you are like that, then what? You would like to hide from Ishvara also, Bhashyakara says. This is the, I told you, correct? So even Ishvara can become a source of fear. Then you want to hide from Ishvara. Okay. But in reality, you cannot hide from Ishvara because Ishvara is Antaryami. So you cannot hide also. That is a problem, in fact. Okay. So anyway, the Vedadarshis want to hide from Ishvara. But here what? I am to Ekatvadarshi, na bibheti kutaschana. So the Ekatvadarshi, one who sees oneness and doesn't see any difference, does not fear from anything because there is no second thing. Na bibheti kutaschaneti. correct? Yato vacha nivartante. Sorry. Anandam brahmano vidwan na bibhet tadachaneti comes there. Yato vacho nivartante first. Then later on in the same Taittiriya Upanishad, Anandam brahmano vidwan na bibheti kutaschaneti. So you don't fear from anything because there is no second thing. There is no bhaya karanam. So ekatva darshi na bibheti kutaschana ataha na tada vijugupsate. Therefore, what you don't have to hide yourself from anybody or anything. You don't have any insecurity. Yada ishanam devam anjasa atmatvena pashyati. So when you see yourself as this Ishvara himself directly also, correct? As your own self, then you don't have any reason to hide. Or you can take another meaning, Bhashyakara says, na tata nindativa kanchit. Or this jugupsate also has a meaning of abhorring somebody or criticizing somebody and all that. You don't have to criticize anybody. In fact, criticism also comes from certain insecurity only, correct? You think that you are somehow lesser than somebody else, and you, by criticizing somebody else, most people have a habit of uh, or whatever they have, some people have a habit of criticizing everybody else. And if you look at their psychology, it will be mostly that they are feeling good by criticizing others, because otherwise they have a certain insecurity about themselves. They feel that they are no good. So at least by criticizing and showing somebody as bad, you become better than them. Correct? This is also there. In fact, if I remember correctly, in the 16th chapter of Gita, correct? So the Daivasura Sampat and all is being talked there. So there is a verse there, correct? In the almost in the beginning only, I think second verse or something. Ahimsa satyam akrodaha tyaga shantir apaishunam. Like this, Bhagavan is listing all the Daivi Sampat. Okay. And Daivi Sampat is what one is supposed to do sadhana and aspire for, correct? To having all those values. In that apaishunam, one value is given by Bhagavan. What is this apaishunam? Apaishunam means not talking bad about anybody, correct? Not finding faults with others all the time. Bhashyakara says Paishunam means Pararandra Prakatikaranam, like that in the Bhashya. Means Pararandra Prakatikaranam means what? You, you are gossiping about the faults of somebody else. Randra has a meaning of defect or fault and all that. So if you keep talking about others' fault, means that basically shows that a fault in your character, in fact. So you don't have to about anybody's fault or anything unless somebody asks for your opinion themselves, correct? You can help people if they seek your help. That's a different thing. You don't have to go ahead and find fault with anybody. In fact, once you gain a certain maturity, I think you are not looking for faults in people. In fact, by looking at their fault, why should you feel bad? In fact, if you look at somebody's fault, you are going to feel bad only about it, correct? Or you will feel pity. Instead, you can look at the good. There are so many things good in everybody. You can look at the good things of everybody and feel happy about it, correct? Given a choice, why should you make yourself sad? So I think even that way, there is no point in finding fault with others or criticizing others. That is relatively as a sadhana. But here for the jnani, there is no second thing. In fact, to even find fault, correct? So sarvam atmanam hi pashyati, Bhashyakara says, sa evam pashyan tam aso nindya. If you see everybody as yourself, there is nobody to fault with. You cannot fault with yourself also. That is another problem. Some people are criticizing themselves all the time. That is also a problem. You criticize yourself all the time because you look upon yourself as a limited being suffering, correct? You have a low self-esteem and all that. Even that is not there. Therefore, This jnani cannot criticize anybody. Okay. Next is what? Yasmad arvag samvatsaro aho bif parivartate tad deva jyotisham jyotihi ayur ha upasate amritam. So here again, previously Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya was said here, correct? He is the Lord of all periods of time. That is explained here. Like I said, the words like Nitya, Amrita, etc. should not be taken to mean a long time or being in time for a long time or forever. In fact, it really means you transcend the space-time itself. That is your reality. In fact, every night when you sleep, you transcend space-time. Existence by itself transcends space-time. Space-time is there in you. You are not in space-time. That is the meaning here. So that is said here explicitly that from whom samvatsaraha aho bihi parivartate arva means from whom this time in the form of years, days and nights, etc. Correct? Is rotating. The Kala Chakra is rotating below whom it is said. Arva. Now below means it is not like literally it is rotating below somebody spatially and all that. Here we have to understand that it is a different order of reality. In fact, it is like whatever may be the period of time in dream, it is below the waker, correct? Waker is not affected by all that. So the waker transcends the entire dream space time. Like that, here Arva means this Brahman, Atma is at a different level, different order of reality. It is a different category altogether, correct? So that's what one has to understand. And that Brahman, again, the nature of that Brahman is given here. Tad Devaha Jyotisham Jyotihi Ayuhu Ha Upasate Amritam. So this Atma, which is Brahman, which is also the Kalasya Ishan, that Atma is, or that Brahman is done Upasana of, correct? As what? Jyotisham Jyotihi. So this Jyotisham Jyotihi occurs in Bhagavad Gita, in Upanishads and all that. Okay. So even in the Gita, 13th chapter it is there, correct? Jyotishamapi tad jyotihi tamasah paramuchyate jnanam yeyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. So it is the light of even all the lights. And even how can it be the light of all lights means only Brahman shines even in Surya, Chandra and all that, correct? Every day in the temple also during Arati we say the mantra. The Mundakopanishad mantra is there, correct? Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tamya bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati tasya bhasa, the Atma's light alone makes everything shine, correct? And that is there even in the 15th chapter also it comes yadadityagatam tejaha jagadbhasayate khilam yachandramasi yachagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. So my tejas alone, understand that, is there in the Aditya, Chandrama, Agni, etc. Like this, Bhagavan also says. So that Jyotisham Jyotihi in the Mundaka, in fact, before that Natatra Suryo Bhati, the previous mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad also says that At Shubhram Jyotisham Jyotihi Tadedatma Viduhu, like that. So that is Shubhra, means pure. That is Jyotisham Jyotihi. Like this in different places, different Upanishads, this Jyotisham Jyotihi, it is used and means that it is the real light. It is the consciousness which is lighting up everything. Even Aditya Adi, Jyotish, they are all shining only because of this Atma. And that Atma, Paramatma, Brahman, the Devas do Upasana as Ayu, as longevity. Okay, they do Upasana. And that is the reason they are all Amrita. Amritam. Okay. So they live for a long time. In this, there is also upasana. So even if you want to live for a long time, you can do upasana of Brahman as Ayuhu. Brahman is Ayuhu. Like that, if you do upasana, you live for a long time. So like this, Bhashyakara says, we'll see the Bhashya. Kincha yasmat ishanat arva. So from this Ishvara, whatever is below, and below means what Bhashyakara says, yasmat anya vishayaha eva ityarthaha means it is something separate, some other category itself totally, correct? That means we have to understand it's a different order of reality. Anya vishayaha eva. And what is that? Samvatsaraha kalatma sarvasya janimataha parichet. So this samvatsaraha means what it is? Basically, it is time, correct? In the form of time, and also what? And in which everything is born, and by which only everything is limited also. Paricheta, Bhashyakara says, which limits the very fact that something is born in time means it is limited by time. But the one which this time cannot limit is the Atma. So he says, Yam aparichindan arvageva vartate, but the one whom it cannot limit, this Atma, it is rotating below this Atma, we have to say, correct? Parivartate, this Kala Chakra is rotating below this Atma because it cannot limit this Atma because Atma transcends this very time itself. And this time has all these avayavas, correct? Ahobihi, savayavaihi, swa avayavaihi, ahoratraihi tyarthaha. So ahobihi means it is there in the form of its own avayavas, parts, which is in the form of days and nights, etc. Any other measure of time you can take. So the time itself is below this Atma. And also what is that? Tat Jyotisham Jyotihi Aditya Jyotisham api avabhasakatva. So this is called Jyotisham Jyotihi because it is the one which gives its light to even Adityadi, Devatas, Aditya, etc. And this Jyotisham Jyotihi Ayuhu iti upasate devaha. The devas do upasana as Ayuhu as longevity and Amritam Jyotihi. And this is done upasana by the devatas as Amritam Jyotihi, Jyotisham Jyotihi. And Ataha Anyan Griyate Jyotihi. Also, this Jyoti itself is Amritam Jyoti. Why? Because anything other than this Jyotis, this Atma, it is all subjected to time. It will, whatever comes into existing in time, will be destroyed in time itself. It will die in time. But this Jyotis, which transcends the very time itself, does not get destroyed in time. Therefore, what sarvasya hi etat jyotihi ayuhu. Therefore, this jyoti itself is the ayus of everything which is living here with the longevity. And also Bhashyakara says, see, ayur gunena yasmat devaha tad jyotihi upasate tasmat ayushmantaha te. So the devas themselves are called amritaha and they live for a long time, we say. Why? Because they are doing this upasana, it seems. So he's saying ayur gunena. So this saguna brahma upasana, Brahman, you do upasana as the one who is having ayuhu. So if you do Saguna Brahma Upasana like this, and then what? Because of that only Tasmat Ayushmantaha, they are all Ayushmantaha, they have Ayush, they live for a long time. Therefore, what? Anybody else of he says Tasmat Ayush Kamena, Ayur Gunena, Upasyam Brahma Ityarthaha. So from here you can also get a Upasana that those who are desirous of having a long life, longevity, Ayush Kamena. Then you do the Saguna Upasana, you do Brahman as Ayuhu, you can do Upasana. Brahman can become the Upasya. the one which is meditated upon as Ayuhu. So that is this. And again, next one. Yasmin pancha janaha akashascha pratishthitaha tameva manya atmanam vidvan brahma amritaha amritam. So here again, very interesting. Yasmin pancha janaha akashascha pratishthitaha, in which this pancha janaha it is said. Okay, first 5 pancha janas, 5 groups of 5 people, like that you can take. Or pancha jana itself, Bhashyakara takes it as a proper noun here. Okay. Along with that, Akasha also. Again, Akasha also here is not the regular space, physical space. Bhashyakara again brings back Akasha. The meaning of Akasha we saw in the 3rd chapter, 8th Brahmana, correct? Where this Akshara Brahmana it is called. There Yajnavalkya is teaching about this Aksharam Brahma to Gargi, and there the Akasha is used in the sense of Avyakrita. Okay, Brahman which is in the form of Avyakrita, which is the cause of this entire world, is called Akasha there. So that is the meaning we have to take. So here pancha janaha means 5 groups of 5 things, or 5 groups can be taken as the Karyam Jagat, the entire world, which is in the form of Vyaktam, Vyakritam, differentiated, and which is in the form of effect or Karya, is the pancha jana. And along with that, Akasha means Akasha here is the Avyakrita. So both Vyakritam and Avyakritam, everything is Pratishtitaha, means everything is supported in this Brahman. Again, Pratishtitaha means you can simply say Brahman is the Adhara. This Adhara means support and all that. If you say, again there is a problem. Understand that? Because if you say the book is supported by the table, let us say, then both are in the same order of reality, correct? My hand is supporting something. I am holding a phone in my hand. Phone is supported by my hand. If you say the supported and the supporter both are same order of reality. Here, when we say all this pratishtitaha, adhishtitaha, adhishtanam, everywhere are adhara. When you use such terms, we have to understand that the adheya, that which is supported, is adhyasa. It is all superimposition. It is like the rope supporting the snake. Understand that? That's how we have to understand. So this entire Srishti, along with its Karana in the form of Avyakrita, is supported in which Brahman? And again, this is a Mahavakya, correct? Tameva Manya Atmanam Vidwan Brahma. So that alone, this Vidwan understands as one's own Atma, correct? You understand this as your own Atma. So this Brahman, which is immortal, you understand as your Atma, which is the Pratishta of all this entire world and the cause of the world also. And that Brahman itself is Amritaha. And since you are that Brahman, you are also Amritam. Okay? Brahma Amritaha, Amritam is there. Aham Amritaha eva, like that the Vidwan understands. Why? Because he is Amritam Brahma. So that is the, again this here, this Mahavakya and the Jnana Phala also is talked about. So here again one more thing I have to point out here. This particular Brhadaranyaka Vakya is also discussed in Brahma Sutra. Okay, there is a 1-4-11 Brahma Sutra is there, and in that Brahma Sutra, this particular Vakya is discussed because there actually under discussion is the Sankhya. Pradhana is under discussion. This Pancha is taken by the Sankhya people to mean that Pancha means normally if you use 2 times Vipsa like that, 5 means 5 into 5, 25, correct? So they say that 5 into 5, 25, even with your Veda itself is talking about the 25 tattvas, which the Sankhya's also talk about 25 tattvas, okay? And that is, it is talking about Pradhana only as the Pratishta for this entire Srishti. Therefore, Pradhana is the Karana, Srishti Karana and all that. They try to take this like this. That's why Vyasacharya has written one Brahma Sutra explicitly for this Vakya from Brhadaranyaka 1411. Those who are interested can go and refer. And there Bhashyakara writes a lot of Bhashya to say why Pancha Pancha cannot be taken as 25, because this Pancha Janaha is a separate samasa, correct? So this Pancha and this Pancha cannot be taken together as a Vipsa. Vipsa means if you repeat something 2 times, it has a certain meaning, correct? So Pancha Jana is separate, Pancha is separate, and you cannot take it as 25. The Pancha Pancha cannot be taken as 25, and he even quotes Paniniya Sutra and all for that. Okay, it's a very interesting Bhashya. So anyway, here we cannot take like that. So we'll see what Bhashyakara writes here. So Kincha Yasmin Yatra Brahmani. So Yasmin means Yatra Brahmani, in which Brahman. Pancha Pancha Janaha means Pancha Janaha means Bhashyakara states Gandharvadayaha Pancha Eva Sankhyaataha. So these Gandharva etc. are in numbers 5. He says, which are those 5? He's enumerating also. Gandharvaha, Pitaraha, Devaha, Suraha, Raksham. See, like this, 5 groups are there. So these 5 groups are only called, each of them are called Panchajanaha, and 5 of them are there, correct? Gandharvaha, Pitaraha, Devaha, Asuraha, Rakshams. So Panchajanaha means all these you can take, he's saying. Or you can take it as Nishada Panchama va Varnaha, he says. Or you can take it as the 5, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and those who are outside that are called Nishada. So Avarnaha. So like this, Pancha Varna, all people or all the celestials, means basically the Vyakrita Jagat. That's what we have to understand here. So that is the meaning he is giving. And Akashascha, Akasha separate. Again, here the Akasha meaning is a technical word here it is. Akasha is Avyakritakyaha. Bhashyakara gives the meaning. Akasha is the undifferentiated causal state. Okay. Brahman as the undifferentiated cause is the Akasha here. And why you have to take it like that? Because in Brhadaranyaka itself it is talked about, correct? He says, Yasmin Sutram Otam cha Protam cha Yasmin Pratishtitaha Yetasminnu Khalu Akshare Gargi Akashaha Iti Uttam. So 3, 8, 11, you can go and check. It's a very beautiful Vakya there. Okay. This is Brahman has revealed as Akasha. And everything is Otam and Protam. It's the Akasha is the warp and woof of this entire creation. Okay. Warp and woof are the two, that vertical and horizontal yarns which make up a cloth, correct? Like that, this Akasha itself, which is Brahman, is the warp and woof, Otam cha Protam cha of this entire creation. So this was said there. So the Akasha has a different meaning. It is not just physical Akasha. In fact, Bhashyakara uses this Akashascha as one more argument to say it cannot be 25 tattvas, because in the 25 tattvas, Akasha also is included according to Sankhyas. So if Pancha Pancha itself means 25 tattvas, the Upanishad need not separately say Akashascha like that. Okay. So anyway, I'm just saying. So here, but Akasha means Abhyakrita, because it was said like this already in the Akshara Brahmana. So everything, both Vyakrita and Avyakrita, is Pratishtitam in which Brahman? That Brahman, Tameva Atmanam Amritam Brahma Manye Aham. So that Atmanam Brahma Amritam Manye. So I take myself as that Brahman, which is immortal, to own up to this knowledge. Okay, that is the important thing. Knowledge is nothing but owning up to your reality. Understand that. Jnanam is not going to make any other change. The magic of knowledge is that you don't become anything else other than what you are already. That is the beauty of knowledge. And therefore, nacha aham atmanam tato anyatvena jane. And also, I cannot know myself as anything other than like this, because in reality, I am the limitless conscious being, and there is nothing other than me also. And if I know myself in any other way, then I'll be a samsari, I'll be a martyaha. So this is the only way I can know myself as Amrita. So by that, what happens? Kim tarhi means Amritaha aham brahma vidwan sanne. So being this Amritaha, immortal, or immortal means what? I transcend time itself, right? Being the one who is not subjected to time. So that's that kind of a Brahmavid I am now, correct? I am this Brahma. Now I know this Vidwan son. Being that Vidwan, Vijnana Matrena to Atyaha Aham Asam. So then how did I make myself as mortal? Means it is only due to Ajnana, only due to ignorance. I take myself as a mortal, or I took myself as a mortal. I was a mortal. Now I have become immortal. So did you really become immortal? You were really mortal, then you become immortal, means that is not possible. So the only way is what? You were already immortal, but due to ignorance you took yourself as mortal. Now that ignorance is gone. So tad apagamat vidvanaham amritaha eva. Because of that destruction of that ignorance alone, I am now a jnani, and because of that I am amritaha. Whatever already I was amritaha, I have reclaimed my reality as amritaha. You have accomplished the already whatever is accomplished. Okay. And further, pranasya pranam uta chakshushaschakshushu uta shrotrasya shrotram manaso ye mano viduhu te nichikyuhu brahma puranam agryam. Again, this is, see, this Brhadaranyaka one Upanishad is good enough, I think, because anything and everything which is there in all other Upanishads also are there here. Right? So if you read this, many of you will remember Kenopanishad, correct? Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manaha वाचोह वाचं सौ प्राणस्य प्राणः चक्षुषश्चक्षुरतिमुच्यधीराः प्रेत्य अस्माल्लोकात् अमृता भवन्ति. Like that, it's a very famous Kenopanishad Vakya, and very similar Vakya is there. And so, Pranasya Pranam, see, this Brahman is the Prana of the Prana, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, mind of the mind, and all that. Something similar came even here already in the third chapter also we saw, correct? So this Brahman itself is the one in whose presence this prana is functioning as prana, eyes are functioning as eyes. Correct? Otherwise, if this consciousness is not there, eyes will not remain as eye, correct? It is dead body only. In dead body, it is not really eye. Only when consciousness is there, it can function as eye. Otherwise, that it is just a dead body, it is just a flesh, and it will rot. Anything else also. Your hands are hands, so it is the hand of the hand, leg of the leg, like that you can keep on saying. All the organs are functioning in whose presence? So, impelled by whom and all that, correct? That is this Brahman, due to whom you know whether you see or not. Because of this, which Brahman you know whether your your awareness also is there or not, whatever is there in your mind is there or not, whether your ears are hearing or not, whether your mind is thinking or not, everything you know only because of this Brahman, which is this pranasya pranam, chakshusas chakshuhu, shrotrasya shrotram, all these things. And that Brahman is what? Again, here also it is a Mahavakya, correct? Because these things are all Tompada, Lakshya. pranasya panam, chakshusha chakshuhu, shrotrasya shrotram. But then in the second line, what? Te nichikyuhu brahma. So nichikyuhu means nischayena jnatavantaha ityarthaha. So you know this Brahman clearly, definitely, that I am this Brahman alone. Whatever is there as the pranasya prana, manasaha manaha, chakshusha chakshuhu, etc. is nothing but this Atma Tattva, Pratyagatma is Brahman alone. Te Nichikyuhu Brahma. And what kind of Brahman? Puranam Agriyam. Again, Puranam Agriyam means what does it point out? Really, it is Anadi. Agriyam means that was there in the beginning. Correct? Beginning means what? Even before this world, as we know, was there. Correct? That's what we say. Sadeva Somya idam agre asit. In Chandogya Upanishad. Ekameva advitiyam. So idam agre asit. Agre there means what? Fifty hai prak. Even before this 50, whatever was there. But whatever was there is the cause of this Srishti. But what about that cause? Does it have a cause of itself? Means no. That's why Puranam also is important. Puranam here really means Anadi, means causeless cause. Puranam Agriyam means Agriyam points out to whatever was there before even this Srishti in the beginning. But what about that Vastu which was there in the beginning? Was it caused by anything? Means no. It itself is Purana. Or you can Purana can be taken as Pura Eva Navaha, which is always new. Because it is Ananda Swarupa, correct? So that Brahman, which is the Adi Karanam, but which itself does not have any Karana, I know that Brahman definitively, clearly as myself. That is this again, it's a Mahavakya. We'll see the Bhashya quickly. Kincha, tenahi chaitanyatma jyotisha avabhasyamanaha pranaha. So this prana, which is lighted up by this Chaitanya Jyotihi, Bhashyakara connects it. Previously, Jyotisham Jyoti and all we saw, correct? So this prana being lighted up by this consciousness alone, what Atma Bhutena Praniti. So it functions as prana. Okay. And that prana, this Atma alone is appearing in the form of prana also. We have to understand. Tena pranasyapi pranaha saha. And that whatever prana which is functioning, this Brahman, this Pratyagatma is the prana's prana because only by its light it is able to function. Tam pranasya pranam tata chakshushaha api chakshuhu. Similarly, it is the eye of the eye. The shrotrasya api shrotram. It is the ear of the ear. Brahma Shakti Adishtitanam Ki Chakshuhu Adinam Darshanadi Samarthyam. So Bhashyakara says only due to the Shakti of Brahman alone, this Chakshur, this eye, etc., have their Shakti or their Samarthya, their capability to do whatever they are doing. If eyes are seeing means it is only due to Brahman's Shakti. Okay. Why? Because Swataha Kashta Loshta Samani Hitani Chaitanyatma Jyotishunyani. So there is no Chaitanya, there is no consciousness in them. Then they are like Kashta Loshta, we say. They are like dried wood, etc. They will just rot. Okay. So this Brahman in the form of consciousness alone keeps all these things alive and functioning. So their capability to function is only due to this consciousness, which is Brahman. It is Brahman Shakti alone. Similarly, Manasaha, Pi Manaha, Iti Ye Viduhu. So those who know oneself as in this manner, what Chakshuradi Vyapara Anumitas Astitvam Pratyagatmanam. So the one who is known by the Vyapara of all this Chakshuradi, etc., this Pratyagatma, but you cannot know it as a Vishaya. Bhashyakara makes it clear also. Na Vishaya Bhutam Ye Viduhu. So you can know this Atma, but not as an object of cognition, because it is yourself, correct? So this Anumita Astitvam, he says, that is because he wants to, why he is using the word Anumita here? Anumita means inferred, you can say. So, because some people confuse you by saying whether this Atma itself is not there, correct? There are Nairatmyavadis are there, Shunyavadis are there, and whether there is an Atma which is separate from this body, and what is the nature of that Atma, there is confusion with reference to all these things. But the one who knows this Atma with the help of this Upanishad Pramana as the one which is other than all these, whatever, the Dehatma Sangata, but in whose presence alone this Deha, etc. are functioning, that Pratyagatma you know, but you do not know it as an object of your consciousness. So, na Vishaya Bhutam ye viduhu. That is why it has to be pointed out in this manner, correct? Otherwise, in fact, in the third chapter itself, we saw, correct? There somebody even asked, why you can't teach me this Brahman, this Atma, like showing a cow? You cannot do that. Okay, this is the only way. Only by negation we can reveal this Brahman, because you have taken yourself wrongly. Once that all the wrong notions are gone, you are anyway already shining as you are, correct? You are self-revealing, self-existent reality. So you don't have to be revealed as an object. So those who do not know oneself as an object, they know clearly facts. Te nichikyuhu nischayena jnatavantaha brahma. Only they know them. In fact, in the Kenopanishads also this is said beautifully, correct? So, yen manasana manute yena manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate yet chakshusha pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate yet shrotrena na shrinoti yena shrotramidam shrutam. Like that it keeps on going. Correct? That which cannot be objectified by the mind, but mind itself is functioning due to the presence of which Chaitanya, that you know as yourself. Not the one you do visualize as some whatever object. That's not Brahman. Brahman is this Atma which cannot be objectified by the mind, which cannot be objectified by your eyes, which cannot be seen by your eyes, which cannot be heard by your ears. So it cannot be objectified by any sense organ or any buddhi or mind, etc. But in whose presence alone all these things are functioning as it is, you have to know it as such. Correct? Then you know it definitively, clearly. Nischayena jnatavantaha brahma. And this Brahman is what? Puranam, Chirantanam, means it is Anadi. How it is there in the beginning. Amgriyam, Agre Bhavam. And so the one who knows like this alone knows, correct? Tad yadatma vido viduhu itihi atharvane. Even in the Atharvana, Jyotisham api Jyotihi and all, it was said, correct? This is the previous mantra to the, I already quoted this, that Natatra Suryo Bhati na Chandra Tarakam. So before that also it is said here. So the ones who know this Atma, they know it in this manner only. This is said in the Atharvana also. Because this Jyotisham Jyotihi cannot be objectified. That is the important thing. Not knowing as an object only makes it the subtle part, correct? The subtleness of this knowledge is only because every other knowledge you know by objectifying, but this knowledge you cannot know yourself as an object, and you need not know. That is the more important thing. So you have to know yourself as you are. Okay, we'll see the rest of the things in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ. ಶುಭ ದಿನ.